99.7 The Fox, Charlotte's Classic Rock. Hi there, my name's Crowley, and this afternoon I'm talking with author Rob Cross about his new book, Flip Your Thinking, Ignite Your World. And Rob, welcome to the show through the magic of technology.
It's magic, all right, that's for sure. Are you having fun today?
I am in the process of trying to. How's that?
Well, can I do something for you? Can I sing to you? Can I tell you a potty joke? I mean, is there something I can do?
No, actually, you know what? That just talking with you puts it on a whole different level. Let's put it that way.
Oh, I love that. I don't know if that's good or bad, Chris. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, I mean, like you said in your book, you know, you gave the example. The guy had his horse get away and came back, and the owner was like, oh, great fortune. Well, I don't know. Is it? We'll wait and see.
Isn't that a great story?
Oh, it is. And I'm excited to talk with you about some of the stories in your book. You know, about the stories we tell ourselves and what they ultimately mean.
You know, we're so quick to judge stuff, aren't we? My goodness. And then when I judge it as being bad, then I start acting toward that being bad, and then I engage with it differently, and it's amazing. That really happened to me in my I was a filmmaker, and I still am, but I was an award-winning filmmaker, and my business crashed. And boy, I tell you what, for about 20 seconds, I was going through my old stuff about, you know, how horrible this is. And, oh, my gosh, what am I going to do? And it's funny, when I told my wife, Frank, I said, you know, I'm going to flip my thinking on this thing. This is a setup for something better. You know, as bad as it looks, and sure enough, I entered a whole new world that I just will never go back on. And it's where I'm at today with my speaking and my writing and coaching and just having a ball. I wasn't doing this back when I was producing, so I love it.
We're talking with author Rob Cross about his book, Flip Your Thinking, Ignite Your World. You know, Rob, first of all, thank you for taking the time to talk today.
Sure.
I've read a lot of your book. I won't say all because I tend to flip around, but I've read most of it. And if I had to boil it down to a sentence or two, it's really about how you think about things, how most people think about things is limiting in and of itself. And if you want your life to be different, you have to think differently first, right?
You're exactly right, Chris. It's everything starts with a thought, right? I mean, nothing was created that wasn't created twice. First in my mind, and then in reality. And I am so amazed at how many stories I tell myself that I'm not even aware of. And that's my excitement, is to share with folks in this book. There's 36 ways you can flip the little stories that you tell yourself. And so many are unconscious. But as you awaken and as you become aware that, by golly, you know, my first couple of businesses, by the way, were I was hesitant because I feared failure. You know, I was very cautious, right? And when you fear failure, when you're overly cautious, you don't really jump in with both feet. Well, I got it. Wow, I am living tentatively. I'm building a couple of mediocre businesses because of a story I told myself that failure is bad. But failure is not bad. It's a stepping stone. It's, you know, every time you stumble forward, right? So you got to be willing to fail. You got to be willing to fail in order to be successful. And that's the paradox of it all. So many of this stuff we're doing upside down, right? I fear failure, no more. No, I embrace it. I'd love to have lunch with Thomas Edison. I tell you, that guy, he was something else. He said, I didn't fail 700 times to invent the light bulb. He said I didn't fail once. He said, I discovered 700 ways how the light bulb doesn't work.
Right. See, you and I tend to view setbacks or failures kind of the same, that if you're not failing, you're not trying. And if you're not failing, you're not learning. And I think I was actually going to bring up the whole Thomas Edison thing. In order for him to get to where he needed to be, he had to learn the things that he learned along the way. And a good friend of mine once said, success is a poor teacher. You'll learn more from your failures than you ever will from success. The voice you're hearing is that of author Rob Cross about his new book, Flip Your Thinking, Ignite Your World, which, by the way, you can find on robflips.com. And he's got this great section on there if you spend some time called Flipology. You got to check that out. But, Rob, you had this great business making films, and then it just dries up one day and goes away. And so many of us, myself included, have our identities intrinsically tied to who we think we are. And when that goes away, we don't know what to do. And sometimes we don't know how to handle it. So How did you get to that light bulb moment where that goes away and then all of a sudden you have if I change the way I think about this, I change the entire outcome?
That's a great question. Get this, Chris, this is something that's crazy. You might not be able to relate with, but I started noticing that how life wasn't cooperating with my plans. Can you imagine that?
Imagine that.
It's like life wasn't going according to my plans. And my marriage wasn't going according to my plans. My business wasn't going. It's funny, you come to a point in life, in a lot of ways, I guess. We all have that different point. I got to a point where I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. I was sick and tired of things being mediocre, and I've always wanted to be. I've always felt this brilliance inside me that's from God. I believe you and me both were made in His image, and we have all that factory installed inside of us, but yet we tell ourselves the stories and we buy into them and and that's when I started. I honestly, it was the failure of my marriage where I said, okay, I've had enough. I'm going to do something different. You can only do the same thing so many times and keep getting the same results. So I think that was my biggest turning point, was when I stopped and I said, okay, this marriage didn't work. And I was broken at the time and I was so sad, but yet I was insistent on understanding why. And it was like that was my first major flip, was, you know what, I'm going to figure out why this marriage didn't work, and I'm not going to blame her. I'm not even going to bring her name into it. It's me. It's all me. And when I did that, holy cow, it's like the lights turned on. It's like, I suddenly I felt power. I felt power to create something new and different because I took my blame off of her. And then I started taking my blame off the economy for my business. And when I started owning my stuff, that's when things really flipped for me. So my encouragement is, wherever you're at in your life, with your business, with your sense of joy, with your marriage, with your parenting, wherever you're at, if you're not where you want to be and you're not where you know deep down inside you should be, I want you to think about why. And that why, seriously, think about why. And whatever that why is, that's your blame. That's who you're blaming. I didn't finish my college degree, or I was born on the wrong side of the tracks. I'm too short, too tall, too skinny, too old, too young. My spouse won't let me. I don't have enough money. Whatever the reason, that's your excuse, and that's what you're blaming, and that's what you're giving your power to. It's like whatever your blame is, you're giving them the remote control to your life, and they've got their thumb on the pause button, and you're on pause. So take your power back. Really understand your thinking, what your unconscious thinking of who you're really blaming for where you're not at, for you're lacking, and that's where your power is. So anyway, that's a long answer to where I started. That was my first major flip, and I've been flipping ever since. And I couldn't stand it. My wife said, "You got to write a book," and I said, "Well, I can't." She said, "Why not?" I said, "Because I'm not a writer." Well, see, that's a story I told myself. That was my thinking, and so I designed my whole life around that thinking. I even hated English class, Chris. I was horrible in English. My best buddy was Cliff. Remember Cliff? Cliff Notes? Yeah, he was my buddy. I carried him everywhere I went. But I recognized that I had been telling myself a story that I'm not a writer. Well, by golly, I'm a writer. I'm on my third book now, and my third and fourth will be out this year. And I'm thrilled to share with the world what I'm discovering. It's a life of just joy and breakthroughs and insights and success.
The voice you're hearing is that of author Rob Cross about his book, Flip Your Thinking, Ignite Your World. Rob, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate you taking the time, and I know we've had to move this a few times, so thank you for being flexible, and just thank you for the book itself.
Well, thanks, Chris. And listen, can I just tell all you listeners that you are far more capable than you think you are. Life is grand. You've got everything you need, factory installed, and you're made in God's image, and that's a mighty fine image. So God bless you. And Chris, thanks for your work.